It's less what he did than the perception of what he is, an arrogant, narcissistic person.
J'ai décidé de vous redonner le choix de notre avenir parlementaire par le vote.
He is the incarnation of the distant elite in the eyes of many Frenchmen.
Emmanuel Macron didn't waste any time. Even as the results were still being counted from the European elections, he called for a snap general election.
And I think Macron does not want, after 2 mandates, to be faced with the same humiliation than Barack Obama.
Speaking to the Associated Press, political analyst Dominique Moisy compares what's happening in France to what happened to Barack Obama back in 2016.
After his 2 mandates, Donald Trump came to power. It was for him a deep humiliation.
Marine Le Pen's national rally won nearly a third of the vote in the 2024 European elections, more than the combined share of Mr. Macron's Renaissance Party and the Socialist Party's coalition. One could almost say that Mr. Macron had nothing to lose by dissolving the National Assembly. Nevertheless, it's a bet which may end with him governing alongside a national rally majority in the parliament.
So he tries to take his destiny in the eyes of history in his hands, and for that makes a huge bet. I'm going to dissolve the National Assembly.
It didn't take long for the French to take to the streets in protest over the gains made by the so-called far right, a misleading label that liberals have long relied on to scare off voters, even as parties move closer to the centre. Here, footage of the youth wing of Jean-Luc Mélenchon's left-wing La France Insoumise party. They're chanting against the National Front, as the National Rally was once known when it was founded by Marin's father, Jean-Marie Le Pen, in 1972.
Le communisme.
And it's that sentiment, issues related to the party of old, that Mr. Macron knows the media will amplify on the campaign trail.
They are voting to say no to Macron. And there might very well be relative majority of hard right at the National Assembly and a strong extreme left constituency.
And with the French presidential election not taking place until 2027, Mr. Macron may be calculating that 3 years of potentially messy, divided governance may be the best route to keep Marine Le Pen away from the presidency.
The National Front will come to power and the French will realize how incompetent, how ideological, how dangerous they are. I think that may be his strategy.
The first vote takes place June 30th, the second on July 7th.
The risk he is taking are huge.
Voters across the 27 different countries that make up the European Union voted in the European Parliament elections. The biggest winner was the European People's Party, a coalition of national centre-right parties, including Germany's Christian Democratic Union and Spain's Popular Party.
There remains a majority in the centre for a strong Europe. And that is crucial for stability. In other words, the centre is holding. But it is also true that the extremes on the left and on the right have gained support.
Other parties that performed well as a result of moving closer to the centre included Brothers of Italy, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's party, those who didn't budge, including Alternative for Germany, and Geert Wilders' Party for Freedom, failed to make as much ground, despite immigration remaining a central issue for all parties on the right.
Moi, je suis d'origine libanaise, je suis né au Liban, et des personnes comme moi, je suis en plus de confession musulmane, on sera les premières victimes de ce pari risqué d'Emmanuel Macron si demain on a une personne d'extrême droite en tant que Premier ministre dans notre pays.
Europe has never figured out how to manage the millions of migrants former German Chancellor Angela Merkel welcomed in 2015, or the many millions of other migrants who've arrived since.
We're here today because our future is getting destroyed.
Voters are also fed up with the many green energy initiatives, such as net zero carbon emissions, at the expense of stagnating economies or skyrocketing energy prices.
And what is fascinating is that young people in France are seduced by that argument. Like in Germany or like in Italy, young people have moved from concern for the survival of the planet, Greta Thunberg, the Green, to concern for the identity of their country.